Hi everyone. Maybe you've seen my previous videos about Bitchute. On on the one hand, I like Bitchute as an alternative to YouTube, and because it supports free speech. But of course, the downside is that you have all kinds of neo Nazis on there, and and they they use free speech as a shield, and so just so that you understand kind of the extent of it, you can see a screenshot here. You have just the title and the just the title and the thumbnail of the video already says it all. I mean, just the title. I mean, who even comes up with a title like that? Vampire Jews Attack Congressman. Great title. Okay, and here you have why Pittsburgh synagogue was targeted. And the title and the thumbnail and the description here already says it all. Pittsburgh anti-white synagogue is a major headquarters for the funding and coordination of mass third world immigration to replace and genocide the white American people. I can see that correct English grammar is not the strength of white supremacists. Anyway. To replace and genocide the white American people. Yeah, see, that was actually exactly what the what the shooter. That's exactly the kind of propaganda that motivated the shooter in the first place. So here it says on Wikipedia that he posted on Gab, which is similar to Bitchute in the sense that neo-Nazis can freely post their propaganda there under the protection of free speech, because, of course, deleting the content of neo-Nazis would be a violation of their free speech. And don't think that I'm advocating that. I want to make that clear. I'm not opposed to free speech, and I'm not saying that, hey, the solution is to delete the accounts of neo-Nazis. No, that's not what I'm advocating at all. But I'm just saying that, maybe it shouldn't be completely ignored by Bitchute, because so far they have been completely ignoring this, and I've been trying to get their attention. And as you know from my previous video, I posted on their forums and trying to bring this to their attention, but the only replies I ever got was, people trying to convince me that the Holocaust didn't exist, didn't happen. And and of course that I shouldn't I shouldn't even bring this up because because of free speech, and it's a free speech platform, so of course it should also provide neo-Nazis with a place to spread their content, and that it does. You have a lot of channels. I mean, this is not just some channel I singled out. There were a lot of channels like that. I mean, I just bookmarked 3 channels here as an example, but you really don't have to look very long, and you find hundreds of channels like that on Bitchute. And maybe this channel is a good example here. Let's watch some of the videos. Let's watch that one so that you can see what they're saying. I'm not trying to promote what they're saying. You get me, right? But you do want to know what kind of content they're spreading, right? and like I said, it's the exact same kind of propaganda that that motivated the shooter in the first place. I mean, the shooter in Pittsburgh, who killed those Jews. That's exactly the kind of propaganda he was quoting before he went on the massacre. And actually, because in my post on the forums, I also I also wanted to bring to their attention the many Holocaust deniers on Bitchute, because there really are a lot of videos denying the Holocaust. But not only on Bitchute, also on other platforms that kind of even on Facebook. Even the other day, I watched Mark Zuckerberg defending Facebook, for tolerating Holocaust deniers, and that they should also have a right to free speech on that platform. And I agree. I'm just saying that, their logic is that, well, deleting that content would be a violation of their free speech. And I agree. I'm not saying that it should be deleted. I'm just saying we can't ignore it, because they also say, a lot of these people told me, well, there is nothing wrong with denying the Holocaust. That never hurt anyone. Well, I kind of disagree, because like we seen just now, it's exactly that kind of propaganda that led to the Pittsburgh shooter doing what he did, and it's also exactly that kind of propaganda that made my grandpa ignore it when he actually, in the Second World War. Well, not in the Second World War, but during the Third Reich. Well, don't think that this was part of the war. I mean, it was, he actually witnessed the Holocaust. I mean, he witnessed Jews being shot. Not that wasn't on the front. I mean, it was, it was part, of the extermination of Jews, and he actually watched Jews being shot, and he later told me about it. And of course, the first question I asked him is, well, why didn't you do anything about that? And he actually could have done something about it, but he didn't. And the reason he didn't was precisely because he believed the kind of propaganda that is spread here, for example. So let's have a look at it. A human cancer called Jews. A human cancer called Jews. Lovely video, right? And you can see right away by the picture, lovely pictures. Those are the exact same kinds of pictures that my grandfather looked at, because the Nazis brought out a monthly magazine, and on the title cover of that magazine, every month there was printed the slogan, the Jews are our misfortune. And I showed in my previous video that actually a lot of the videos on Bitchute, there are actually a lot of videos that have the same title. I think there's even one channel that has that as the title. The propaganda you see here in the in the video, I don't want to. First, I thought that I'm gonna read this to you because it's just text, but I won't. You have to read it yourself. But the pictures and the propaganda that this video is spreading is exactly the same kind of propaganda my grandfather was exposed to in the Third Reich, and it's exactly that kind of propaganda that made him not help the Jews that he saw being shot, because he could have done something about it. And of course, it was dangerous to do something about it, but that was not the reason. He hesitated because he believed that propaganda. He basically believed that the Jews are the devil, right? So normally, if you see a human being shot, your first thought would be, well, you got to help, you got to do something about this, you got to prevent this. This would be your first thought. But because he was uh, indoctrinated for so long with this kind of hate propaganda, uh, making him believe that the Jews are the biggest monsters and they're out to destroy us, and you know, and they're trying to destroy our race and our identity, and they're leading all these foreigners into our country to destroy our identity. That's the kind of propaganda my grandfather believed, and that's the kind of propaganda that Pittsburgh shooter believed. And, well, that's why the Pittsburgh shooter shot those people. And my grandfather himself, well, he didn't shoot anyone, but normally, you know, if you don't believe this kind of propaganda, normally your reaction would be, if you see people getting shot, you would want to do something about it, prevent it. But if you believe this kind of propaganda, you believe Jews are monsters, then at the very least, you do what my grandfather did, and that is hesitate. He was hesitant. You know, normally he would help, but because he was indoctrinated so much with that hate propaganda against Jews, he hesitated, and he let it happen. So you really can't say that you know, this kind of propaganda has nothing to do with the atrocities that are actually connected with it. If it wasn't for that kind of propaganda, my grandfather would have never ignored those Jews being shot. I'm sure of that. I know him. He was a good person. He was misled by this kind of propaganda, and he told me that himself. You know, and that's also what I want to get at. You know, these people who believe this kind of hate propaganda, these are not necessarily evil people. They just have been brainwashed into thinking that the Jews would be evil people. You know, and I'm not doing this, you know, a lot of neo-Nazis have also, you know, called me names like, you know, like Jew lover or Muslim lover, but not such nice names, and they use more derogatory terms. And, well, you know, in a way I am, because I love everybody, you know. Why should I hate, and it's not about Jews, why should I hate any religious or racial minority? I mean, you know, you can't generalize religious and racial minorities like that. Not everyone in any group of people is good, and not necessarily everyone in any group of people is evil, you know. You can't generalize it like that. But yeah, that's basically what this kind of propaganda is doing. It's saying that, well, this group or that group, be it Jews, be it Muslims, be it that religion or this minority, they're all evil and they're monsters, and, you know, and that's just not true. And if you believe that, it turns you into the monster, and then you are able to ignore it if you see terrible atrocities happening. So how can you say that that's not connected? And how can you say that, well, denying the Holocaust never hurt anyone? Well, it's exactly, you know, my grandfather, I mean, he knew about the Holocaust. He saw it happening himself, you know. But because of this kind of propaganda, he didn't do anything about it. And because, you know, it wasn't, I mean, he saw what he saw, but he didn't know how he didn't really know the extent of it, and he didn't believe the extent of it. You know, if someone were to have told him Jews are being turned into soap, he would have laughed at it. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, right? And precisely because he had that kind of attitude, because he was told that it was, in reality, it was the Jews who committed all those atrocities. And that's what these kinds of videos are doing here. I mean, if you, well, that's actually, that's actually the one video I found on Bitchute that mentions the Holocaust, but doesn't deny it. That's actually a pretty good video. I mean, You should, if you want to watch any of those videos, go watch that video, because that actually explains very well why the Holocaust must be true. Well, of course, personally, I know it because I know that my grandfather wouldn't lie to me. But back to the neo-Nazi channel here. And you can see, we just watched this video here, and his videos are all like that. I mean, all very lovely videos here. The Jew parasite, Rise Europe, rise against the Jew, a human cancer called Jews. That's what we just watched. And so on and so on. You can see lovely videos here, and and then of course you have those videos, the Anne Frank diary hoax, Jewish tricksters, another Jew host exposed, just as everything else these people do. It's forbidden to question the holocaust. Well, I'm German, so I'm not good at pronouncing English stuff. It's forbidden to question the hoax. I didn't even know you English people had a word like that. Holocaust. Huh, well. Jewish tricksters again. Yeah. So as you can see, it's never just because like I said, a lot of platforms like Bitchute and also other platforms, including even Facebook, defend Holocaust deniers and say stuff like, and they actually said that to me. So I mean, you can actually read that in the forum post I made. Someone actually replied to me, well, this is a free speech platform. What's wrong with denying the Holocaust? Denying the Holocaust never hurt anyone. Well, it did, because these people don't understand that there is a connection between denying the Holocaust and the kind of propaganda against Jews we're seeing here, and the atrocities committed against Jews, like the Holocaust, and like for example, I mean, if you don't believe in the Holocaust, well, okay, but you believe in the Pittsburgh shooting, right? Or are you also denying that? But so you can't deny that there are at least some atrocities that were committed because of this kind of propaganda. So how can you say that there is no connection? And well, then you say, but at the very least there is no connection between denying the Holocaust and the anti-Semitic propaganda. Well, as you can see here on this channel, they kind of go hand in hand. I mean, he has videos demonizing Jews, just like he has videos denying the Holocaust. But you say, yeah, but this is just this one guy, there are other guys out there who just deny the Holocaust, and maybe they don't vilify the Jews. And True. I mean, I did find, because there are literally hundreds of channels like that on BitChute, I have to admit, I did find some channels that only directly denied the Holocaust and didn't slander or demonize, directly demonize the Jews. And I also found some channels that directly demonized the Jews and didn't deny the Holocaust, But that's not usually the case. Usually, they, as you can see, they go hand in hand. But I have to admit, some channels don't have both content, and some neo-Nazis, they don't like being called neo-Nazis. I mean, I guess, but some people like that. Some people only focus on demonizing the Jews, and some people only focus on denying the Holocaust, but most people actually focus on both. And actually, if you really look into this and look into what they're saying, what the Holocaust denial videos, for example, are saying, they really are closely connected to the propaganda against Jews, to Jews being demonized, because there is absolutely no way that anyone would believe in the one but not in the other. I guarantee you, I haven't found any person ever. And my grandfather was like that too. He didn't believe in the Holocaust. He saw it happen, But before that, he didn't believe in it. And that's precisely why he let it happen. It's on the one hand, he believed in the propaganda demonizing the Jews. But of course, he also, at that time, the Holocaust was just happening. So there wasn't really a Holocaust denial movement like we have today. But of course, the Holocaust wasn't the first crime that was committed against Jews. Before that, there were many, and wasn't something that just happened from one day to the other. But in the Third Reich, there were, there were many atrocities committed against the Jews. It wasn't just a one-time thing; it was a slowly progressing thing. And even before that, there were many atrocities committed against the Jews. And of course, those atrocities were denied. Of course, they couldn't deny the Holocaust, but because that didn't really happen yet. But they denied every other atrocity that was committed against Jews up until that point, and instead blamed the Jews. And that's exactly what my grandfather believed. And that's exactly why when he saw Jews being shot, he hesitated and didn't help them. Because, because normally when you see someone being shot, you immediately think, well, this is wrong. I have to stop this. I have to stop these people. I have to stop this. This is murder. I have to stop this from happening. That would be your normal reaction. But when you have been indoctrinated like this, and when you have been told that all the atrocities that have been happening against the Jews, that's just the propaganda the Jews are spreading, and the Jews, in reality, the Jews would be the one that are committing all kinds of terrible atrocities. Then when you see something like that, then you like I said, you hesitate. You start thinking, well, maybe this is not what it seems to be. Obviously it seems like innocent people are getting shot, but maybe looks are deceiving. I see, that was the case with my grandfather. He saw it with his own eyes, but the propaganda was so powerful that he started to question even what he saw with his own eyes, and he started to think, well, maybe I'm not getting the full picture here. Maybe these Jews that I see being shot are not innocent after all. Obviously, I know he knew, so he's thinking, I know that Jews are evil monsters. So obviously there must be a good reason why these Jews are being shot. Because he thought that Jews were committing all these terrible atrocities, not the Germans, the Jews. That's how he's been indoctrinated. So then he thought, well, there must be a good reason why these Jews are being shot, and so he hesitated and ignored it. So how can you say that there is no relation between that? Really lovely channel, by the way. If you scroll down a little more, here we even have synagogue shooting cashes out, Jews tricksters, synagogue shooting fake news. It's still the same channel, by the way. So you can see it even goes hand in hand with justifying, atrocities committed against Jews nowadays. Yeah. So how can you say that there is no relation? How can you say that denying the Holocaust, which goes hand in hand with demonizing Jews, how can you say that that never harmed anyone? Hello? And of course, denying the Holocaust actually always goes hand in hand with demonizing Jews, because ask any Holocaust denier, even if he seems like the nicest person and he's the most insistent that he's not a Nazi and that he respects Jews, and that ask the nicest Holocaust denier. I don't care, I don't care how nice he is. I guarantee you, no matter who you ask, as long as it is a Holocaust denier, I guarantee you that he also believes in the propaganda the Nazis spread, demonizing the Jews. Why? Because he has to. He has to. Because listen to what he says about, denying the Holocaust. I mean, how can you even deny the Holocaust? There is no way, no possible way you could deny the Holocaust without believing the anti-Semitic Nazi propaganda. Why? Well, because there is no other way that the Holocaust couldn't have happened. See, the reason he thinks that the Holocaust didn't happen is precisely because he believes this Nazi propaganda demonizing the Jews. And that's the only way you can deny it. Because, see, I told you about my grandfather, and not only my grandfather, my entire family. I have lots of people in my family who witnessed the Holocaust firsthand. Perpetrators as well as victims. So I know these people wouldn't lie to me, and I know that the Holocaust must have happened. But of course, the people who deny the Holocaust, they don't have such people in their family. But almost everybody in Germany has a family like that. And it's not like I'm special, Everybody in Germany, I mean, now it's all, it's been so many years. Now the people, the witnesses are, if they didn't die back then now they're dying of old age. But even if you ask any young people, in Germany, any young, even, I still consider myself young. I'm close to 40, but yeah, well, anyway, even if you ask people my age in Germany, you will find many, many, many people who know from the people in their family. I mean, of course, if they're my age, they wouldn't have witnessed it themselves. But even if they're my age, even if they're relatively young people, they will know people in their family that have witnessed it firsthand and told them about it. And almost every German knows someone like that. So all these people back then, all those millions of Germans, they would have all had to lie about that, because you have so many witnesses. You have so many, not only the victims who survived the Holocaust, but also the perpetrators. And so many people. I mean, and it doesn't. It's not limited to the direct victims and the direct perpetrators. I mean, it's also, every German family back then knew a Jewish family that was sent to a labor camp and didn't come back. So where did those people go? And every German family back then knew about that, and later on they talked about it. So if the Holocaust didn't happen, all these millions and millions of Germans who testified that the Holocaust did happen and who did see it with their own eyes, and of course I'm not talking only about the direct victims and the direct perpetrators. I'm talking about the millions and millions of people who knew a Jewish family living right next to them, who had Jewish neighbors, who was, and they saw them being sent to a labor camp and they didn't come back. So where did those people go, right? Weird, huh? Why didn't they ever call? And you have millions of German families like that who knew a Jewish family, at least one. In most cases, they knew many Jewish families that were sent to a labor camp and didn't come back. So all those millions of German families, they would have all had to lie. So Germans basically would all be liars. So who's the racist here? I mean, obviously the racist is the racist, but the racist is not only slandering Jews, he's actually also slandering Germans, because he's calling all those millions of Germans, millions of my peoples, liars. Because that's the only way he can deny the Holocaust. And that's actually what a Holocaust denier does. Yes, he actually says that. He says and that's where the conspiracy theories and the slander and the hatred against Jews comes in. because he actually believes that the Jews are this all-powerful organization, so evil, it's like a spider sucking the blood of the entire world, controlling everyone, and manipulating everyone and destroying entire nations, and they're the most evil monsters. And he actually believes that. And if you believe that, then yes, it's easy to deny the Holocaust, because then all he has to say is the Jews manipulated these people to say that, so that it's ridiculous. Yeah, sure. The Jews manipulated millions of Germans into lying that there would have been a Holocaust. Yeah. But in his eyes, because he believes the propaganda against the Jews, that's actually feasible. He actually believes that. He actually believes that the Jews are so organized and so powerful and so evil that they have the power to do that and to bribe every German back then into into coming up with this Holocaust myth, just so just so that the evil Jews can deceive people. So you see, there is no way you can be a Holocaust denier and not believe in anti-Semitic Nazi propaganda, because the anti-Semitic Nazi propaganda is the only way and is the only reason that he is even able to deny the Holocaust.